Powerhouse Ventures is an early stage tech fund. We are a US firm. We invest exclusively in tech and predominantly in India. We look at consumer tech, enterprise tech, mobile internet as broad categories. There are specific focus areas that we have, including sports tech, health tech, SaaS, and gaming, and so on and so forth. So there's a bunch of areas that we look at. In terms of what we look for in entrepreneurs as we decide on investments, broadly speaking, the way our investment process works is if we're looking at a particular subsector, we want to look at 5, 10, 15, 20 different companies that are operating in that subsector, look at who is doing what, where is it that we think we can add the greatest value beyond a check. There's a lot of people out there that can write checks, right? What is it that we can do beyond writing a check, and figure out what the best synergies are and then make a decision based on that. So we look for obviously incredibly passionate people, right? People with ambition, people with passion. Obviously it's ideas that draw us to them, but broadly speaking, ideas change, right? Every business model almost goes through a pivot or some kind of an adjustment. So it's not like the proof of concept or the prototype that one starts with, it doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what they end up with a year or 2 or 3 years down the line. So it's people, and then obviously the idea, we look at their ability to execute, the team's ability to really come through on the game plan that they're saying that they're building, right? So broadly speaking, those are the things. And of course, we internally and through the entrepreneurs, we learn about the market sizes, the market shifts, what's happening in that particular category, broadly speaking, in terms of market movements, and then make decisions based on that. I think there is a bubble for funding massively large billion-dollar enterprises, right? I'm not going to say any names. The media pays extraordinary amount of attention every time there is a large funding round and any time there are large layoffs or failures. They miss a whole chunk of building the business part, right, that gets lost. I don't think there is a bubble. There are extraordinary opportunities in India, in tech, across categories. And I think there's going to be a shift. You're probably referring to a correction that we've been going through since 2015 through 2016 and even partly now. The shift is that it's not just about dumping enormous amounts of money and trying to attract customer and consumer bases, right? It's really about, if you're say referring to e-commerce, it's really about building sustainable business models. That funding is going to dry up, right? So it's really about creating sustainable business models. I don't think there is a bubble. There is a ton of money that is dedicated to invest in Indian startups that venture funds have raised, that is sitting on the sidelines waiting to be invested. Obviously value, I think at the end of the day, if it's a product or a service or a company that creates exceptional value to its users, it's going to produce the right valuation, right? Market will dictate what the valuation is. Consumers, right, customers, as long as they find enormous value in the company or product, valuation will follow. I'm a bit of a transplant, as you may have guessed by now. Grew up outside of India most of my life, have come back, and in the last, my fund is 3 years old now. We've invested in a whole bunch of companies across India. We're just now starting to open up, we've been looking actually over the years at companies coming out of Hyderabad and that ecosystem, and I hope we'll get to see a whole bunch of ideas coming out of Andhra Pradesh as well. Right now in our portfolio, we don't have anything from either of these two states. We have an active portfolio of 20 plus companies that are scattered across the country. Hopefully we'll add a few more from this region as well. Stay crazy, right? It's really building businesses, building companies is not an easy thing. But if you get it right, you will be changing the world, right? Simple solutions for everyday problems have created monumental business opportunities. Think in simple terms, but execute flawlessly, right? Make sure that your execution game plan is as low risk as possible. And ultimately just bring that passion, that drive that you probably initially had when you're germinating the idea, and don't ever let that passion die. New geographies, finding new avenues of bringing in folks and helping them build their own ecosystems, helping them gain access to mentors, investors, other entrepreneurs. I think an entrepreneur learns the most from other entrepreneurs, right? So people who have built monumentally successful businesses, people who are part of various industries, hopefully will attend such conferences and contribute to the next generation of entrepreneurs coming out of this region.